Hare Krishna everyone, so we're continuing with the Path of Perfection by His Divine Grace, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. This is Shravanam Diaries podcast. I am your host Sulalita Devidasi, and we are starting Chapter 2, Mastering the Mind and Senses. Yam sanyasamiti prahur yogam tam vidhi pandava na hyasanyasta sankalpo yogi bhavati kaschana. Quote, what is called renunciation is the same as yoga, or linking oneself with the Supreme, for no one can become a yogi unless he renounces the desire for sense gratification. Unquote, Bhagavad Gita 6.2. This is the real purpose of the practice of yoga. The word yoga means to join. Although we are naturally part and parcel of the Supreme, in our conditioned state we are now separated. Because of our separation, we are reluctant to understand God and to speak of our relationship with Him, and are even inclined to think of such discussion as a waste of time. In a church or in a Krishna conscious temple, we speak of God, but people in general are not very interested. They think it's a waste of time, a kind of recreation in the name of spiritual advancement, and they believe that this could be better used to earn money or enjoy themselves in a nightclub or restaurant. Therefore, it is due to sense enjoyment that we are now attracted. We are not attracted, unfortunately, to God. Therefore, it is said that those who are addicted to sense enjoyment cannot become yogis. That is, they're not eligible to participate in the yoga system. Okay, so let's repeat that again. It is due to sense enjoyment that we are not attracted to God. One cannot advance in any yoga system if he participates in sense gratification and then sits down to try to meditate. This is just a colossal hoax. Such contradictory activity has no meaning. First of all, yoga means controlling the senses. Yama, niyama. There are 8 stages of yoga: yama, niyama, asana, dhyana, dharana, pranayama, pratyahara, and samadhi. In the 6th chapter, in which the Lord speaks of the Sankhya Yoga system, He states from the very beginning that one cannot become a yogi unless one renounces the desire for sense gratification. Therefore, if one indulges his senses, he cannot be accepted as a yogi. Yoga demands strict celibacy. In the yoga system, there is no sex life. If one indulges in sex, he cannot be a yogi. Many so-called yogis come from India to America and say, yes, you can do whatever you like. You can have as much sex as you like. Just meditate. I will give you some mantra and you will give me some money. This is all nonsense. According to the authoritative statements of Sri Krishna, one cannot become a yogi unless he renounces the desire for sense gratification. This is explicitly stated as the first condition for yoga practice. Arurukshor munir yogam karma karanam uchyate yoga rudhasya tasyaiva shamah karanam uchyate. Quote, for one who is a neophyte in the 8-fold yoga system, work is said to be the means, and for one who has already attained to yoga, cessation of all material activities is said to be the means. Unquote, Bhagavad Gita 6.3. According to this verse, these yogis who are attempting to reach the perfectional stage and those who have already attained that stage, these are two kinds. As long as one is not situated on the perfectional platform, he must engage in so many works. In the West, there are many yoga societies attempting to practice the asana system, and therefore they practice sitting in different postures. That may help, but it is only a process by which one can attain the real platform. The real yoga system in its perfectional stage is far different from these bodily gymnastics. It is important to understand, however, that from the beginning, a Krishna conscious person is situated on the platform of meditation because he is always thinking of Krishna. Being constantly engaged in the service of Krishna, he is considered to have ceased all material activities. Yada hi nindriyartheshu na karma svanu sajjate sarva sankalpa sannyasi yoga rudhas tadochyate. Quote, a person is said to have attained to yoga when, having renounced all material desires, he neither acts for sense gratification nor engages in fruitive activities. Unquote. Bhagavad Gita 6.4. This is actually the perfectional stage of yoga, and one who has attained this stage is said to have attained to yoga. One who renounced all material desires. This is to say that he has connected, joined, or linked himself with the Supreme Whole. If a part is disconnected from a machine, it serves no function. But as soon as it is properly attached to the machine, it works properly and carries out its different functions. That is the meaning of yoga, joining with the Supreme Whole, serving in conjunction with the total machine. Presently we are disconnected, and our material, fruitive activities are simply a waste of time. One who engages in such activity is described in Bhagavad Gita as a mudha, that is, a rascal. Although one may earn thousands of dollars daily and be an important businessman, he is considered in Bhagavad Gita as a mudha, a rascal, because he is just wasting his time in eating, sleeping, defending, and mating. People do not stop to consider that they are actually working very hard for nothing. One who earns millions of dollars cannot really eat much more than a man who makes $10. A man who earns millions of dollars cannot mate with millions of women. That is not within his power. His mating power is the same as one who earns $10, just as his power of eating is the same. This is to say that our power of enjoyment is limited. One should therefore think, my enjoyment is the same as that of the man who is earning $10 daily. So why am I working so hard to earn millions of dollars? Why am I wasting my energy? It's just like in that song, I've tried so hard and got so far, in the end it doesn't even matter. It's true, actually. I should engage my time and energy in understanding God. That is the purpose of life. If one has no economic problems, he has sufficient time to understand Krishna consciousness. If he wastes this precious time, he is called a mudha, a rascal, or an ass. So it's fine to solve your economic problems, but what do you do with the time that you get by solving them? According to the preceding verse, a person is said to have attained yoga when he has renounced all material desires. Once we are situated perfectly in yoga, we are satisfied. We no longer experience material desires. We no longer act for sense gratification or engage in fruitive activity. When we speak of fruitive activity, we refer to activities carried out for the purpose of sense gratification. Purpose. This is very, very, very important. That is, we are earning money in order to satisfy our senses. If one is virtuous, he engages in pious activities. He donates money to charities, opens hospitals, schools. Although these are certainly virtuous activities, they are ultimately meant for sense gratification. How is this? If I donate to an educational institution, for instance, I will receive good educational facilities and I will become highly educated in my next life. Being thus educated, I will attain a good position and will acquire a good amount of money. Then, how will I utilize this money? For sense gratification. Thus these virtuous and fruitive activities form a kind of cycle. We often hear the expression, a better standard of life. But what does this mean? It is said that the standard of life in America is superior to that in India. But in both countries there is eating, sleeping, defending, and mating. Of course, in America the quality of food may be better, but the eating process is there. A superior standard of life does not mean superior spiritual realization. It just means better eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. This is called fruitive activity, and it is based on sense gratification. Yoga has nothing to do with sense gratification or fruitive activity. Yoga means connecting with the Supreme. Dhruva Maharaj underwent severe austerities in order to see God. And when he finally saw God, he said, Swamin kritarthosmi varam nayache. CC Madhya 22.42. My dear Lord, I am now fully satisfied. I am not asking for anything more. I do not want any further benediction from you. Why didn't Dhruva Maharaj ask for benedictions? What is a benediction? Generally, a benediction means receiving a great kingdom, a beautiful wife, palatable food, and so forth. But when one is actually connected with God, he does not want such benedictions. He is fully satisfied. Swamin kritarthos mi varam nayache. Actually, Dhruva Maharaj initially searched for God in order to attain his father's kingdom. Dhruva Maharaj's mother was rejected by his father, and his stepmother resented his sitting on his father's lap. Indeed, she forbade him to sit on his father's lap because Dhruva Maharaj was born in another womb. He was not born in her womb. Although only 5 years old, Dhruva Maharaj was a Kshatriya, and he took this as a great insult. Going to his own mother, he said, "Mother, my stepmother has insulted me by forbidding me to sit on my father's lap." Dhruva Maharaj began to cry, and his mother said, "My dear boy, what can I do? Your father loves your stepmother more than he loves me. I can do nothing." Dhruva Maharaj then said, "But I want my father's kingdom. Tell me, how can I get it?" "My dear boy," his mother said, "if Krishna, God, blesses you, you can get it." "Where is God?" Dhruva Maharaj asked. "Oh, it is said that God is in the forest," his mother said. "Great sages go to the forest to search for God." Hearing this, Dhruva Maharaj went directly to the forest and began to perform severe penances. Finally, he saw God, and when he saw him, he no longer desired his father's kingdom. Instead, he said, "My dear Lord, I was searching for some pebbles, but instead I have found valuable jewels. I no longer care for my father's kingdom. Now I am fully satisfied." When one is actually connected with God, he is totally satisfied. His satisfaction is infinitely greater than so-called enjoyment in this material world. That is the satisfaction resulting from God realization, and that is the perfection of yoga. Jai, I think we're going to stop here for today. Thank you so much for tuning in today. The link to this book is in the description, and we shall see you next time. Hare Krishna.